Good evening. Thank you for coming tonight. My name's Paige Wood, and to tell you a little bit about myself, I went to Otterbein University in Westerville, Ohio, and I grew up in Ohio. I got my master's degree from Wayland Baptist in 2013. I spend summers working as a staff developer for a college readiness system called AVID. And I've been in education about 23 years, mostly as a teacher. I did spend a couple of years working at Texas Tech in an administrative position, but I missed the classroom, so I came back as quickly as I could. These are my daughters, Haven and Riley. They are both at Northridge, and then my husband, who's not in the picture, teaches sociology and social work at Texas Tech and South Plains College. Our philosophy, our classroom philosophy is growth mindset. So we use some of the materials from trainugly.com and just really want students to know that whether they struggle with English or whether they're really, really good and love English, we all want to be growing and improving and getting better. So a little bit about how this class works. A lot of our assignments are posted to Edmodo. And Edmodo, you have a little bit of information. It's an educational website that helps students see what we're doing in class. They can talk to each other. They can get extra help. And this is our Edmodo. So you can see this is just today. The kids logged on to Edmodo and they started having a discussion. This is my first post. They can link to the poems that we looked at the first day of school. There's a description. I noticed that there were a lot of questions about mood and tone and the structure of poetry. So I put a little bit of information that students can look at. Again, they can click on this link and see the poems that we looked at on the first day of school. And they can and they started with very silly conversation, but students can also ask questions or have a conversation, and I can post assignments, quizzes, polls, and just notes, and this is a great place for students to look. If your student's absent, but they're not super sick and they want to get ahead on their work, or if they're missing for other reasons, they can go on Edmodo and often see what we've done in class that day. The other part of the class, we do a lot of our work in a composition book. So the students were asked to get a composition book for this class, and that's where we put our bell work, a lot of our notes, our rough drafts, and some of our daily assignments. So between Edmodo and the composition book, that makes up the bulk of where students are doing work in the class. So students, corrections and grading, there's a paper that's coming home that goes over this, but really my goal is for students to get the grade that they want in our class, but at the same time be mastering the objectives that we're trying to teach. So any student who gets a grade on an assignment, say they write a paper and they get a 75 on the paper and they're not happy with that 75, they want an A. I want them to come and see me, I want them to bring that paper. We'll look at it together and we'll see what needs to be done to take that from a 75 to the grade that they want to have on that paper. We'll make the corrections on it, and then once they've mastered those objectives and mastered that material, we can update the grade, and that's the grade that will be there for the assignment. So that's how I tend to do work in the class. I'm not the easiest grader, but I do always want students to know that they can make corrections and have that regraded. Is there homework? Well, not always formal homework. I'm not going to hand a lot of pieces of paper out that go home that need to come back the next day. What we want is for students to read, and there's so much research out there that says the more you read, the stronger your skills at reading get. And it doesn't matter if you're reading a novel or if you're reading a book, comic book, fiction, nonfiction, if you're reading things off the internet or newspapers or magazines, just that they're reading. So the more we read, the better we're going to get at reading, no matter what, even if it seems like they're reading books that are for younger students, it will help them. So we really want students to read every day. If a student's having trouble, have them come in and talk to me. I'm going to make time to get them where they want to be. Classroom rules. The big one this year and the big shift is that cell phones need to be put away. They need to be in a book bag, put away. They're there in case of an emergency, but they're not going to be out on the desk during class. If students need to contact you and they ask to call you or ask to text you, I will send them with a note to the office and they can use the office phone to do that. If you need to contact your student, the same thing. They will get a message to your student from the front office. Our classrooms are food-free because we have a lot of student allergies. So students are encouraged to eat breakfast. I know it's a long time before lunch. They can also bring a water bottle and drink throughout the day. If you need to get in touch with me, this is my information and you'll have this with you. And also Remind is a great place to get information, and I'll update that pretty frequently. I'll send out reminds with information about things that we're doing in class.